Well, hey there. It is actually day 17 and day 18 of The Artist's Way. If you've been following along, you'll notice that I did not film yesterday. Yesterday was a weird day, and it's kind of like, do you want the long story or the short story? But both of them are kind of long. So the really abbreviated version of this is that it was like I was walking around in a dream. I couldn't do anything. Everything felt heavy. Everything felt hard. As I described to somebody yesterday, I felt like pushing an elephant through a doggy door. Nothing was going to happen. And so instead of fighting it, I just stepped away from it. I got off my computer, I got off my phone, I got away from my old routine. I kind of went analog. I read. There was a book that I just got on Amazon that's all about channeling, and which is something that I'm really exploring now. It's something I've recognized that as a writer I've been doing for over 20 years. I've just been calling it writing. But I'm recognizing how it's such a part of my coaching now. And, there's such a spiritual closet about it, because that word, like channeling, it makes me sound like Dionne Warwick and the Psychic Friends. And it's frustrating because my own internal censor kind of holds on to that and goes, oh, you sound crazy. You sound like a weirdo. Don't tell anybody about this. But, today, having emerged from that yesterday and having emerged from what was definitely a spiritual thing yesterday, and that's something else that, of course, part of me wants to just find the logical, rational explanation for what happened yesterday, but I know that that's not what it is. And one of the things that kind of, as I was coming out of that fog this morning, and it was not easy. It's like this mix of depression, anxiety, anger, just a lot of intense emotions and energy. And it's the only way to explain it is from a spiritual understanding, at least from my point of view. I don't have a rational understanding that's going to make a skeptic feel better about this. I think one of the things I came to this morning is that I need to let go of the idea of having to prove myself. And I think that has been something that's been holding me back as a coach. I think it's something that held me back as a writer. I think it's something that holds me back as a person, is feeling that I have to somehow prove myself, that I have to somehow validate myself. And that was a big thing I realized this morning, was that, I was once accused by somebody of, you just validate everybody all the time. You just, without discretion, you just validate people. And it was, I thought it was a bitchy thing to say. And I thought that the person saying it wasn't qualified to say it. But I also feel like there's some truth in the importance of being validated. And I think it's something that I recognize in other people, is that often when we're going through something, or we're feeling challenged, or we're feeling stuck, especially in our own stuff, our own addictions, our own habits, our own things that we know that we are putting ourselves through, the last thing people like that need to hear is that there's something wrong with them. They already feel that way. They already know that. And I think, especially with coaching, a lot of clients come to you feeling like they're at a point where they need help, and they feel that there's something wrong with them. And that's a difficult point to start with, especially with coaching or anything in life, is thinking that there's something wrong with you. Because then you got to dig yourself out of that hole, and you got to bring yourself back up to baseline and then try to improve from there. I just think it's a lot more effective to just own where you are now and say, wherever you are right now is totally fine. We don't have to fix you. We're going to improve this. We're going to improve the situation, not fix it. The reality is that I have not been validating myself, and I have felt this, I think I feel this incredible need and the importance of validation, and I give it to other people because the reality is that I really need it, and I don't need it from other people. It actually doesn't really sink in. I can hear, positive things from other people, and it's really great to hear, but, and it's important that we do share that with other people. But if I'm not validating myself, if I can't tell that to myself, it's the old RuPaul idea of, if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love anybody else? And it's like, if you can't validate yourself, how are you going to hear anybody else's validation of you? And I have been invalidating a lot of my own journey, invalidating, wanting to invalidate yesterday and wanting to say, no, it's not some spiritual thing. You were just this. It was just that. You're just this. Ways that I would never talk to another person, right? And just recognizing that that's really such a profound source of pain is the undernourishment of validation. As I come out of whatever was yesterday, and I'm at the park again today, I went for a nice bike ride, just because you can't sit in the house and stew in this shit, I think that that's something I'm really feeling, that life is a lot easier if I just accept that it's valid, that whatever my experience is valid. And the reason that I don't validate it, by the way, the reason that I don't validate my experience enough is because, you know, I would hate for somebody skeptical to look at what I'm doing and say, that's weird, that's strange, you know, that's not in my understanding of reality, so that's wrong. And you know, it was like, well, I know logically that like that point of view like is not qualified to speak to my experience. It was like finally today I was like, you know, who the fuck are you to tell me how I'm supposed to see reality, right? And that's, you know, it's one of those things. It's just like sometimes you have to hear something 1,000,001 times to finally let it sink in. So yeah, so that's what today was. And yesterday it was a mix of kind of a low, and now we're kind of coming back up on the highs. So I am going to assume from past experience and from other people's experiences and just from my own intuition that this is just kind of how the artist way is going to go. It's going to be a lot of up, a lot of down, and eventually level out. I mean, that's the process. That's not straightforward, and I know that. So I'm grateful that today is on the upswing. I'm grateful that yesterday's downswing has passed, and I hope whatever I've learned from this little bump at the roller coaster will prepare me for the next one. That's all for now. I'll see you tomorrow for another day of 84 Days of the Artist's Way. Bye.